A full-blown recession is even more likely based on a new report that was just released today out of Bloomberg and a separate report released a few days ago out of Goldman Sachs. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, at this point, it is no surprise to anybody that we are on the brink of falling into a recession right here in the United States in 2022. In fact, in a matter of just days from now, we'll be getting the next GDP report for the second quarter of 2022 to see, are we officially in a recession right here, right now as we speak, or did we happen to slip right on by only for one to appear a little bit later this year? Well, only time will tell, and of course, as we do get that official information out of the next GDP report here in a matter of just days, of course, I'll be right here for you, breaking it all down, letting you know what it means, and are we official, or did we pass right on by? Of course, only time will tell, and I'll keep you posted on that. However, some of the economists that are watching this right here, right now, they're suggesting that we are already in a soft recession. Yes, that's what they're calling it. They're anticipating that we are already falling into a soft recession. Now, what does a soft recession actually mean? It basically means this much. They're calling it a soft recession so that people don't freak out. The fact of the matter is, either we are in a recession or we are not. So whatever all this business is about a soft recession, literally it's just for the psychology of the people so that we all don't freak out going forward, right? That's literally all it is. I mean, either we are in one or we're not. There's none of this soft business that they're coming out with all right now. So, of course, anyway, that is what they're anticipating. But again, those true numbers will be out here in a matter of just days, and I'll keep you posted on that. However, now let's quickly talk about this new report out of Bloomberg, and then, of course, let's follow it up by talking about the report out of Goldman Sachs in regards to the likelihood of a recession right here in 2022 or possibly in 2023. All right, so a new report was just released today out of Bloomberg Economics, and they're projecting that the likelihood of a recession within the next 12 months has now increased to 38%. So that's what they're anticipating within the next 12 months, a recession. Here's what also is interesting. The likelihood of a recession right here, right now is already very high. Why do I say that? Because we already have one quarter in the books. Remember, the definition of a recession is negative GDP growth 2 quarters in a row. We already have one quarter in the books, and the second quarter we just wrapped up. So the fact of the matter is, we probably already have a recession in the books. It just hasn't been confirmed and been announced quite yet. So that is what we're looking for with this next GDP report. So that's why I said, of course, we want to watch this very closely, because as soon as we get this official announcement, it may be a self-fulfilling prophecy based on everything that we've been seeing here, and we've been talking about basically this big house of cards that have been built over the last couple of years. It's going to be crumbling right before our very eyes. We've already been seeing the foundation getting kicked out of this thing a little bit, and it's going to crumble real fast if all of a sudden we get this official announcement saying, recession, it is here, and it's official, okay? That's why I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. I've been saying it is very likely we are already in a recession right now. This whole house of cards that has been built up is going to come crumbling down really fast, okay? It's why you got to watch all this stuff and why this is all very important. The macro picture behind all of this basically influences everything right now, right? So we continue to see the job market, and we've continued to see layoffs and bankruptcies and closures. We continue to see tons of people losing their jobs right now. Is this signs of a recession? Yeah, it is. Because what happens during recession is that businesses look across their workforce, they look across where they can start cutting money or where they can start saving money with all of their expenses. Because in the event of a recession, what is the obligation of a business? Survive. That's all they need to do. They go into survival mode, right? They need to make it through the other side of the recession. How long is it going to be? Good question. Nobody knows. That's why they need to conserve cash. They need to pile up cash. A lot of times they need to liquidate positions. In other words, get rid of people. Again, I'm not hoping for that to happen. I'm just simply saying this is what happens. They get rid of people because in most businesses, the workforce, as in payroll, is one of the biggest expenses that businesses actually have. So they start liquidating positions to start stacking cash and to start building up their reserves to weather through the recession, because nobody knows how long it's going to last. And the fact of the matter is, they want to make it out the other side, right? So they start doing this by piling up reserves to make it through. So We're already seeing a lot of different layoffs, job cuts. We're seeing a lot of this across many different industries. And the deal is, as soon as we get official recession warnings, official recession confirmation, we're going to see that increase pretty substantially because now businesses have something to lean on and they have that confirmation to say, okay, it's official, it's real, it is here right now. We don't know how bad this is going to get. It's time to start cutting, okay? And again, I don't want to be the person to say that I want this to happen because I don't. Everybody needs a job and everybody needs that income. It's very scary if somebody loses their position, right? So I'm not saying that I want this to happen. This is just the fact of the matter when recessions do actually hit right here in the United States. So just want to throw that out there for you really quickly. So that is the report out of Bloomberg Economics that was just released today. They're anticipating that the likelihood has now increased to 38% within the next 12 months. However, Goldman Sachs, again, another massive bank over on the East Coast, has also released a report just a few days ago where they have now increased their likelihood of a recession to 30%, up from 15%. So they're also projecting that a recession is very likely coming here. So it's kind of interesting to see that these big banks and that these economists and all these big firms out there are suggesting that within the next 12 months, we're likely going to be seeing a recession going forward in the United States. Kind of interesting to see that play out simply because we already have half of the data in the book. So I feel like, of course, I'm not the economist here. I'm not the CEO or the analysts behind these big banks, but we already have half the data in the book, and basically the other data just wrapped up a few days ago. So it seems to me like, shouldn't these numbers be a lot higher? But again, at the end of the day, as some of these economists are actually anticipating, this is probably going to turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why and how? Here's what it comes down to. We've all been hearing about this for quite a while now, right? For what, maybe a month, 2 months, something like this. And it's only been intensifying here over the last few weeks where there's a lot of people coming out talking about this recession fears, right? Well, as a result of that, it may turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy because all of a sudden, consumers, us, the people, we stop buying as many things. Well, that could also be because of this rapidly rising inflation and because of all of the increased prices on everything. So maybe we're just taming back some of our spending. But as many consumers like us, the people, continue to see that a potential recession is on the horizon, we might be looking at the situation saying, okay, well, I don't really know what a recession means, but the fact of the matter is, I know it's kind of a bad thing, and therefore, I probably shouldn't go out and buy a bunch of things right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I totally understand that money is very tight for a lot of people right now. That's not the kind of the mentality of most people. But the fact of the matter is, if we think, hey, I need to go out and buy some new clothes or new shoes, we might be thinking, my shoes and my clothes are not so bad. Maybe I can wait out for a couple more months here. So that's kind of the mentality behind this, is consumers are starting to say, I might not need that thing right now. I can maybe hold off a little bit longer. As a result of that, many people are holding back on spending, therefore turning this into a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Therefore, if we spend less money, that means less economic activity, less GDP, as in production, money flowing through the economy, productivity, all kinds of things like this that make up the GDP. Basically, output is what it all comes down to makes up the GDP. And if we're spending less, that means less output, right? We're buying less goods and services, therefore there's less that needs to be produced, therefore less GDP that's actually being produced. Kind of all makes sense? So the same thing comes in with businesses. Maybe businesses are looking at their current situation, they're looking at their balance sheets, they're looking at all of their finances, and they're thinking, we could buy all this inventory, or we could do this big expansion, or we need this new machinery or equipment, things like this, but we hear that a recession is coming. As a result of that, maybe we should just hold it out a few more months here, wait for this whole storm cloud to pass right on by, see what happens, and save some of that cash if we don't really need it. Again, self-fulfilling prophecy. So whether a recession actually does come in because of the economic conditions and everything going on, or if this is a recession based on self-fulfilling prophecy, the fact of the matter is, a recession is a recession. Doesn't really matter how it gets here. It's still a recession, right? If you see a duck in a pond, a duck is a duck. If If it walks like a duck, if it flies like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right? It's not an otter swimming around, right? It's a duck. So the fact of the matter is, it's just like a recession, right? The fact of the matter is, regardless of how the recession gets here, it's still going to be one. Negative economic growth as measured by GDP a couple quarters in a row. So anyway, when it comes down to all this is all a big macro picture. In fact, I just read another report today that suggested there are 7 major economies all across the country that will likely be slipping into a recession within the next 12 months. So, kind of interesting. This is not just a focused thing right here in the United States. In fact, a recession is very likely across many different, very important economies all across the world, right? So anyway, this stuff is very interesting to watch, but at the same time, we need to keep an eye on what is actually going on here. And now, why is this recession actually happening? Yeah, it's because of the Federal Reserve aggressively raising interest rates. As a result of that, they're basically manufacturing a crash within the economy and all of the markets, the crypto market, the stock market, and of course, the real estate market. Now, this is somewhat of a manufactured crash, so they can try to get all of this inflation under control. But it's not really working. But anyway, we can talk about that in a separate video, just like we have in previous videos. But again, I wanted to give you this report out of Bloomberg Economics, as well as that report out of Goldman Sachs just a couple days ago, let you know what they're thinking in regards to this new recession warning that is currently on the table. Anyway, as I do get more details, of course, I'll be right here for you, breaking it all down, letting you know what's going on and how this is going to impact you, your money, your bank account, or anything else going on right now. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share this video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out some of the other thousands of videos right here on the channel. Until next time, have a good day. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.